Iran's first vice president warned on Tuesday that the flow of crude will be stopped from the crucial Strait of Hormuz in the Gulf if foreign sanctions are imposed on its oil exports, the country's official news agency reported. If they, the West, impose sanctions on Iran's oil exports, then even one drop of oil cannot flow from the Strait of Hormuz, IRNA quoted Mohammad Reza Rahimi as saying. About a third of all seaborne oil was shipped through the strait in 2009, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration (EI), and U.S. warships patrolled the area to ensure safe passage. Tensions over Iran's nuclear program have increased since the International Atomic Energy Agency (IAEA) reported on November 8 that Tehran appears to have worked on designing a nuclear bomb, and may still be pursuing research to that end. Iran strongly denies this, and says it is developing nuclear energy for peaceful purposes. Iran has warned it will respond to any attack by hitting Israel and U.S. interests in the Gulf, and analysts say one way to retaliate would be to close the Strait of Hormuz. Most of the crude exported from Saudi Arabia, Iran, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Iraq, together with nearly all the liquefied natural gas from lead exporter Qatar, must slip through a 4-mile 6.4 kilometers wide shipping channel between Oman and Iran.
Pretty much any attempt by Iran to close the strait or interdict commercial maritime traffic almost necessitates an American military response. Though Iran has a broad spectrum of military options in the strait, there are significant complications both for Iran effectively employing these options and for the U.S. in containing and counteracting them. Part of the problem is that, especially with mine warfare, the principal effect is often psychological. Fear regarding the security of maritime commerce in the Strait of Hormuz can quickly impact the global oil market. And especially given the current economic climate around the world, that's a serious threat in and of itself.
While up to 2 of Iran's 3 Russian-built Kilo-class submarines could probably be scrambled on short notice, the cramped and shallow waters of the strait would make this operation challenging. Another of Iran's options would be to use its fast attack missile boats. These are said to be equipped with Chinese-built C-802 anti-ship missiles based on the U.S. Harpoon and French Exocet designs.
Mr. Rahimi said, if they impose sanctions on Iran's oil exports, then even one drop of oil cannot flow from the Strait of Hormuz, according to Iran's official news agency. Iran just began a 10-day naval exercise in the area. In recent interviews, Obama administration officials have said that the United States has developed a plan to keep the strait open in the event of a crisis. In Hawaii, where President Obama is vacationing, a White House spokesman said there would be no comment on the Iranian threat to close the strait. That seemed in keeping with what administration officials say has been an effort to lower the level of angry exchanges, partly to avoid giving the Iranian government the satisfaction of a response, and partly to avoid spooking financial markets. But the energy sanctions carry the risk of confrontation, as well as economic disruption, given the unpredictability of the Iranian response. Some administration officials believe that a plot to assassinate the Saudi ambassador to the United States, which Washington alleges received funding from the Quds Force, part of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards Corps, was in response to American and other international sanctions. Merely uttering the threat appeared to be part of an Iranian effort to demonstrate its ability to cause a spike in oil prices, thus slowing the United States economy, and to warn American trading partners that joining the new sanctions, which the Senate passed by a rare 100-0 vote, would come at a high cost. Oil prices rose above $100 a barrel in trading after the threat was issued, though it was unclear how much that could be attributed to investors' concern that confrontation in the Persian Gulf could disrupt oil flows. The new punitive measures, part of a bill financing the military, would significantly escalate American sanctions against Iran. They come just a month and a half after the International Atomic Energy Agency published a report that for the first time laid out its evidence that Iran may be secretly working to design a nuclear warhead, despite the country's repeated denials. In the wake of the IAEA report, and a November attack on the British embassy in Tehran, the European Union is also contemplating strict new sanctions, such as an embargo on Iranian oil. For 5 years, the United States has implemented increasingly severe sanctions in an attempt to force Iran's leaders to reconsider the suspected nuclear weapons program and answer a growing list of questions from the IAEA, but it has deliberately stopped short of targeting oil exports, which finance as much as half of Iran's budget. Now, with its hand forced by Congress, the administration is preparing to take that final step, penalizing foreign corporations that do business with Iran's central bank, which collects payment for most of the country's energy exports. The sanction would effectively make it difficult for those who do business with Iran's central bank to also conduct financial transactions with the United States. The step was so severe that one of President Obama's top national security aides said 2 months ago that it was a last resort. The administration raced to put some loopholes in the final legislation so that it could reduce the impact on close allies who have signed on to pressuring Iran. The legislation allows President Obama to waive sanctions if they cause the price of oil to rise or threaten national security.